I survived 100 days on a Minecraft Bedrock Edition flat world with nothing but a bonus chest. A normal bonus chest would mean I can't beat Minecraft. However, I added in a single lava source and 12 end portal frames. Please subscribe. We've just passed 4,000 subscribers and we're aiming for 5,000. Now, without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy. I began by taking the immediately useful contents of the bonus chest, leaving the lava source and 12 end portal frames. I planted the saplings and made an underground bunker to have an area to hide from slimes and hostile mobs. I made the usual crafting table and made a sword. Then I moved the bonus chest down into the bunker and used some of the spare dirt to try and force a large oak tree to grow. I killed every animal I could for food, but punched them first to try and save some durability on my sword, because I had no extra wood at this point. The wool would also be useful to make a bed in the future. I got lucky and a cherry sapling grew just before the night time, and I harvested the wood, making lots of swords ready for the first night battle. I need water, and the only way I can get water on a flat world is from rain filling a cauldron. A cauldron costs 7 iron ingots to make. To take the water from the cauldron, I will need a bucket, which is 3 more iron ingots. So in total, I'm going to need 10 iron ingots. The hard part is zombies have a 0.83% chance of dropping an iron ingot, so I will need to make use of every night until I have a mob farm set up. Whilst killing countless zombies, I managed to get some feather falling 4 leather boots, and a projectile protection 3 iron chestplate, but unfortunately no iron ingots. I killed all the skeletons for the bone drop so I could convert it to bone meal for the saplings and get more wood. At one point, a witch splashed me with poison, so I hid in my underground bunker to heal before going back to try not waste any of the nighttime. The gold armor drops are very important. Once I have the water source, I can put it next to the lava from the bonus chest to make a cobblestone generator. From there, I can make a furnace and smelt down the gold armor pieces into gold nuggets. I will need 72 gold nuggets to make 8 gold ingots. These gold ingots will be combined with an apple dropped from the oak trees to make a golden apple. With this, I have half the recipe to turn a zombie villager into a normal villager. I began day 1 by bone mealing the oak sapling, and even punched the leaves hoping to get more, as without one or an apple, I would need to start this entire challenge again. Luckily, 2 saplings fell. I placed them down and once again tried to force a large oak tree to grow. Thankfully, the second tree grew into a large oak tree. From these, I got plenty of oak saplings and even 2 apples. As is normal in the early days of a flat world, I killed every mob so that I had excess food. A wandering trader spawned in, but until I have access to emeralds, they are useless. I spent the entire night focusing on killing all the hostile mobs that I could, collecting a good amount of gold armor pieces and getting my first carrot drop. I thought at the start of day 2, it would be a good idea to put a protective gate on my underground bunker and make it secure. Then I made a secondary line of defense using cherry fences. As usual, I grinded out food and even set up an area for crops that I had collected, planting the wheat seeds and carrot that I had. I bone mealed them and tried to extend the crop farm within the light of my small area. During the night, this creeper got stuck in a tree, and I continued on the early game hostile mob killing grind. I got my first iron drop, but it was an iron shovel. But without access to a furnace, it doesn't help me towards my iron ingot goal. A creeper rudely blew up one of my 4 torches and some of the fences, so I regrouped inside my bunker. I got my first glass bottle drop from a witch, and this could be really useful when I'm trying to make an infinite water source in the future. At the start of day 3, I filled in the creeper hole and gathered more wood, food, and apples. During the night, the grind of killing mobs continued with very little reward, so I decided to go to sleep for the first time. I began setting up the most important farm of this world during day 4. A general mob farm would mean I can farm hostile mobs during the day and nighttime, giving me access to a lot of resources that will be incredibly useful. I turned grass into path blocks to set up a mini perimeter outline to complete in the future days. Then I built up a drop chute and began making the base layer of the farm. I decided to sleep through the night so I could gather more materials on day 5. Day 5 to day 10 consisted of a lot of the same grindy steps as the previous 5 days. There was lots of wood collecting, mob killing, underground base expanding, and spawn proofing. So I'll highlight the other important things that happened so that I don't repeat myself and bore you. Firstly, on day 5, I was greeted by a few mobs in the morning, with one zombie kitted out with the Pigerton Heart embroidered hoodie that you can find in my merch store. Link is top right on your screen right now or in the description below. Now that shameless plug is done, I got my first iron ingot drop during the night of day 6. The fences protecting my underground bunker were blown up on the nights of day 6 and day 7. On day 7, I got a potato drop from a zombie and planted it to expand my crop farms. I even got my first music disc during the night of day 10, and for those wondering, it was the Far music disc. And of course, during all this time, I was working on expanding the general mob farm. So a quick montage of it being finished. From day 11 to day 15, I spent the time figuring out where I wanted the drop chute to finish and have a platform surrounding the mobs for me to be able to collect all the loot that they dropped. Every single day I was making full use of the farm as I didn't want to waste getting the iron ingot drops and moving on to the stone age. Afterwards, I extended the path blocks that surrounded the general mob farm to attempt to limit spawns. This took so many shovels, like seriously a ridiculous amount. Wooden tools suck. Then I began by adding fences around the path blocked area to stop slimes and hostile mobs from sneaking in, allowing me to essentially semi-AFK the mob farm. Then during the night of day 15, all the hard work in setting up the general mob farm and killing countless number of zombies paid off. I finally got the second iron drop, but then 11 seconds later on the next zombie, I got another iron drop, taking the total up to 3 ingots. You can see how excited I was to get that lucky. And to get rid of the thunderstorm, as I can't make use of the rain yet, I decided to sleep. Day 16, like many men, didn't even last a minute. After sleeping the night before, it seemed that Bedrock's buggy weather would mean it didn't stop, even after attempting a relog. I went back to sleep again in the hopes that this would fix the weather issue. From day 17, I continued the onslaught of all the hostile mobs dropping down the chute from the mob farm. Luckily, day 17 gave me iron ingot number 4, and then 2 minutes later, iron ingot number 5. I decided to use day 18 to make a small expansion on my crop farm. Then I chopped down trees and continued killing hostile mobs. I was being rewarded for my patience at the mob farm as day 18 gave me iron ingot number 6, only one away from a cauldron. A zombie fell down the mob chute and dropped the diamond chest plate that it was wearing. So I took the diamond chest plate, flexed a little bit for the camera, and noticed that it was at half durability, so I could actually keep wearing it. Then, not long after, iron ingot number 7 was dropped. I immediately went to make a cauldron and placed it down in an open space at the base. With spending multiple days at the mob farm, I decided this would be a good time to rearrange the chests in the underground bunker to better utilize the space that I had. Now that I had the cauldron, I still needed 3 iron ingots for a bucket to be able to remove the water from the cauldron once it's filled. So in anticipation of having a water source, I began setting up an area for the future cobblestone generator. And almost like the game wanted me to progress sooner rather than later, I got my first iron ingot drop towards making a bucket. Day 21 was pretty uneventful and was spent waiting for hostile mobs to drop down the chute so I could chop them up, but luck wasn't on my side for the first time. As I carried on during day 22, luckily I got the second iron ingot drop. However, with no guarantee that the next iron ingot would come quickly, I had the idea to get every music disc whilst using the farm. But on my first attempt, whilst trying to get a skeleton to shoot a creeper, it blew up and caused a mess of my drop chute. So I had to quickly block it off and stop the other mobs from getting out, and then repaired all the damage. Continuing with this new idea on day 23, I tried to get a skeleton to shoot another creeper, but as you've probably guessed, the same thing happened again and the creeper blew up the drop chute. So I blocked off the chute and patched it up again. However, I did manage to add the Mellow High disc to the farm music disc I'd gotten before. Now that I was getting music discs from the mob farm, I thought it would be a good idea to set up a display for them. I made the display out of stripped cherry logs and added invisible item frames. I added cherry slabs above for spawn proofing. Then I labeled the position of each disc, even the other side, relic, and 5 discs that are not available to me in this flat world. I added a sad face under the signs for those 3. I added the far and Mellow High discs to the display, then later on day 24, I was able to add cat and mall. I was messing around at the base waiting for mobs to drop down the chute when I saw some zombies outside the fenced area. I decided I would shoot them with my bow. This turned out to actually be one of the best decisions I have ever made because one of the zombies dropped the final iron ingot that I was waiting for. I already had a cauldron waiting for rainwater, and now I had a bucket to collect the water once it's filled. Now it was all about waiting for the rain to begin, so I decided to spend day 25 and 26 semi-AFK in the mob farm to expand the music disc collection. I managed to add 4 new discs on day 25: Stall, Ward, Chirp, and Wait. On day 26, I got a Protection 1 iron helmet, so I upgraded my armor again. Also, I managed to get a bunch of duplicate discs, but I was able to add blocks and 11 to the display. Another creeper decided to blow up the chute, so the rest of this time was spent making repairs. At the start of day 27, I only needed 13 to finish the music disc collection. After a couple of duplicate discs, I finally got 13, and added it to the display and celebrated. I was semi-AFK at the mob farm and was actually tabbed out at the time, but through the chat screen, you can see the sky getting darker, meaning that the rain had finally come. So I got my bottles, and every time the cauldron filled up one level, I would fill a bottle to make a water bottle. Then I realized I didn't have anywhere to make an infinite water source, so I extended my underground bunker and outlined a space for the water sources. Enough time had passed for me to completely fill the bucket with water, so I refilled the cauldron with the 2 water bottles I had made earlier. I placed my first water source down in the bunker, refilled the bottles, and went back to the cauldron. The cauldron had already filled up for the second time, so I took the water and made an infinite water source. Now I had the water, and because rain is the most annoying thing in Minecraft when you're trying to record, I decided to sleep to stop the rain. At the start of day 28, I filled the cauldron with a spare water source, and even filled the bottles to make 3 bottles of water to guarantee I would have spare water should something go wrong. I took the lava source from the bonus chest and a water bucket to go and make the cobblestone generator. I placed in the water, then the lava. I updated the lava block, and with that, the first piece of cobblestone in this world. I took my first 3 pieces of cobblestone and made a stone pickaxe, then got working on collecting more cobblestone. I made my first stone sword and killed all the mobs that had built up in the mob farm. I cannot explain to you how good stone tools feel after using wooden tools for 7 IRL hours. I got a sharpness 2 iron sword, so the stone sword was replaced almost immediately. With the cobblestone, I made a furnace. Then I made wooden slabs for fuel and began smelting 3 cobblestone. Using the wool I had been saving, I made a banner. Then I took the stone that I just melted and put it back in the furnace. I turned the smooth stone into slabs and made an armor stand. I use Foxy No-Tail's armor stand pack because it gives useful information such as mob spawning radiuses, chunk borders, but more importantly for a 100 days video, a day counter. So I placed the armor stand with the day counter on display inside the bunker. I made a grindstone and began disenchanting all the gold armor drops I had gotten before placing them in the furnace. After smelting all the gold armor, I had 3 gold ingots and 6 gold nuggets. This is when my focus turned to finding and killing mobs that were wearing gold armor. I started day 29 smelting down the chainmail armor and iron tools that I had collected. I finished with 2 iron ingots and 5 iron nuggets. I got more cobblestone from the generator and killed more mobs in the mob farm. I then began digging a 5x5 hole close to the cobblestone generator and then surrounded it with cherry planks. As it got dark, I spent the night roaming the plains in search of mobs with gold armor and finished the day with 4 gold ingots and 2 gold nuggets. I began by raising the cherry planks around the 5x5 hole up by 2 more blocks and made a staircase up to go to the top. I began filling it with water to make a little fishing spot. Same as the previous night, I ran around the plains as it allows me to spawn and despawn mobs much quicker, which is useful when looking for a specific kind of mob. I finished day 30 with 4 gold ingots and 7 gold nuggets. Day 31 was a pretty simple day of fishing whilst letting the mobs build up in the chute, killing them and then repeating. At night time, I ran around the plains fighting mobs trying to get more gold armor pieces. At the end of the day, I was up to 5 gold ingots and 4 gold nuggets. I was going to do the same as day 31 on day 32. However, I realized I hadn't upgraded the mob farm since getting access to water, so I pillared up to the farm, placed the water and repeated. I made a temporary infinite water source inside the farm and made the water streams that pushed the mobs towards the chute. During the night, I continued killing mobs at the farm. Days 33 to 34 were very similar. I spent the days at the mob farm killing mobs and then running around in the darkness at night trying to kill more mobs. During the night of day 33, an almost full iron skeleton spawned in, but with no way of being able to ensure that it wouldn't despawn, I killed it hoping that it would drop some of its armor. Day 33 finished with 6 gold ingots and 2 gold nuggets, and day 34 finished with 6 gold ingots and 5 gold nuggets. I had decided that I would be turning my converted zombie villager into a farmer villager, because it would allow me to get the most emeralds at this current stage. In order to do this more efficiently, and now with water sources, I chose to expand the crop farm over the 2 days, adding in plenty of carrots, potatoes, and wheat. As usual, I spent the nights killing mobs, and day 35 finished with 7 gold ingots and 5 gold nuggets. The night of day 36 wasn't as long because the moment I had enough gold armor pieces, I ran back to the bunker, smelted the armor, and made the golden apple. Now I have the golden apple, the other half of the recipe involves some magic. I need a witch to hit the zombie villager with a splash potion of weakness, and then I use the golden apple to start the conversion process. There's only a 25% chance a witch will throw one, and I have to be within 3 blocks for it to happen. This wouldn't be a problem, but the other potions that a witch throws are poison and instant harming. On day 37, I began making an area that would allow me to position a zombie villager in between a witch and myself, but not interrupt the witch's line of sight. Early on, a zombie villager spawned in the mob farm, so I blocked off the chute and dropped it down. I used a dispenser filled with a water bucket to keep it trapped where I needed it to be. I used trapdoors either side of the zombie villager to keep it in place because it was a block down. Then I made a specific pathway for the witch to walk down towards the zombie villager. I was trying to move the dispenser to give myself more room to push the witch when one actually fell down the chute. So I blocked off the chute and placed down the dispenser. I removed one of the slabs under the witch to release it and ran away. I dug a hole into the wall to see where it was and it splashed me with poison. Then, trying to close some of the spaces, a witch ran past and hit me with the cleanest snipe of all time. I actually got super lucky because I only had 2 hearts, and if I'd been hit with a harming potion instead of slowness, I would have been dead. After healing, I went back to check on the witch's position and it annoyingly had moved back to the chute. I was hit by a poison potion and took a chance by activating the water from the dispenser. The witch was pushed past the second window. It hit me with a harming potion, but luckily my health wasn't low from the earlier poison. I healed and began trying to lock the witch in place, only to notice that it was in the space I left behind the door. I removed the water bucket from the dispenser and manually placed the water, then used a trapdoor to keep it in place. Now all I had to do was place myself in front of the witch and hope that it tried to hit me with a weakness potion. The first 3 attempts were poison potions, followed by a harming potion. The next 2 were poison potions, followed by 2 harming potions. On the 5th attempt, I was jumped by a spider, but luckily I'd been paying attention and it didn't hit me. At the start of day 38, I thought I might need to move the witch slightly closer to the zombie villager. I almost released the witch opening the door, but managed to push it back inside with water and blocked off the door hole. I'd accidentally flicked the trapdoor down between the witch and the zombie villager, so I had to get it back up. With that, the witch was pushed closer to me and the zombie villager. The next potion attempt followed the same as before. Poison followed by 2 harming potions. But then, on the 7th attempt, the witch threw a poison potion and then, finally, a weakness potion. I was spam clicking on the zombie villager with the golden apple, so I knew it was the right potion when I heard the conversion sound begin. From there, I knew I needed to kill the witch. I got a couple of melee attacks in, but retreated. I even took a moment to celebrate. After a little bit of healing, I killed the witch with 2 bow shots, then it was all about waiting for the zombie villager to convert, which actually didn't take too long. I heard the final conversion sound and trapped the villager in a boat. I tore down the dirt tunnels that I'd made and used those blocks to put a temporary safety box around the villager. I started day 39 by replacing my extremely depleted food stores after I had used most of it healing from the witch's potion attacks. I finished removing the dirt tunnels and unblocked the drop chute. Now I had a villager, I set about removing all the job blocks around the bunker. I placed down a composter, forgetting the villager needed a bed. So I got one, placed it, and the villager linked to the bed and changed to a farmer. Iron farms need to be 100 plus blocks away from another village, so I set up a small marker to show a good area I could build one in the future. I got my first emerald by locking in a carrot trade, and golden carrots were the final trade, and then I finished the day with 5 emeralds. Now I have the villager and access to emeralds. The wandering trader becomes extremely useful as I now have access to a load of items and blocks that I normally wouldn't in a flat world. There's one trade that I do specifically want though, and that is the Dripstone trade. I can use the Dripstone along with the lava and cauldron to make a lava farm. I need to get a minimum of 11 lava sources, 10 to make a nether portal, and then use the remaining lava source to woodlight the portal and gain access to the nether. The biggest problem is access to this trade is completely up to RNG, so I'll have to build up the amount of emeralds I have and hope that the trade comes sooner rather than later. The plan from day 40 to day 45 was to improve the area around the bunker, have a better food supply, and build up the amount of emeralds that I had. So I collected wood and made a campfire for a free way to cook food. I fixed the uneven fence around the bunker entrance and expanded the fence opposite the new crop area. This was split up into 3 sections for cows, pigs, and chickens. I even torched up the bunker so that I could see better. I bone mealed and collected more carrots, trading up to 8 emeralds. A wandering trader spawned in, and I bought podzol, rooted dirt, and a mangrove propagule. I went back to bone mealing and crop collecting before luring some pigs, cows, and then chickens into the fenced areas. I collected more wood to change the dirt box around the villager into something that fitted the theme of the area a little bit better. I decided to give it a cherry house, with windows and a door with a 1.5 block gap so that the villager couldn't leave. Then, after more carrot collecting, I went in search of a horse and donkey. I found a donkey first, and it was clearly meant to be because we were friends immediately. To get a donkey to become a chest donkey, use a dispenser with a chest inside, and then with some magic, the chest equips on the donkey. I used my new friend to go and find a horse, which I then tamed and took back to the base. More carrots were traded for emeralds, and shortly after, another wandering trader spawned in, and I got myself an acacia sapling and an invisibility potion. I could lie and pretend I did a lot in the almost 30 days between day 46 and day 74, but I didn't. I wanted the Dripstone trade, and I wasn't really bothered about anything else. A lot of the time was spent fishing, as it was relaxing and I could switch off waiting for the wandering trader traders to spawn in. Of course I did a few other things, which I'm going to tell you about now. But remember, this was in between a lot of fishing. I kept collecting carrots and trading with the villager to have emeralds whenever a wandering trader did spawn in. I organized the chests in the bunker and made a shortcut that was also a safer entrance to my bed. I tried to expand the acacia wood area, but I only got one sapling back. I collected some food on horseback using my flame bow to make life a little bit easier. I went back to the acacia tree and chopped it down. I got distracted collecting carrots, potatoes and wheat, and I almost forgot to collect the acacia saplings. A wandering trader spawned in and I got some sugarcane and cyan dye. I made my bed into the superior cyan color and then traded with the villager. I added more fence gates to the cow, pig and chicken pens and started on setting up an area to manually farm sugarcane. I placed down water, hid it with upper slabs and placed down the sugarcane. I bone mealed the sugarcane to expand the farm. I collected more carrots for more emeralds and actually fished up my first decent enchanted book. I killed some mobs, did some more crop collecting, traded for emeralds and spent time at the cobblestone generator. I chopped down most of the trees and traded kelp and cocoa beans from a wandering trader. This trade even took me up to 69 levels. I placed the kelp down in the fishing spot. I smelted some of the gold armor pieces I had gotten and a useless wandering trader magically despawned. I got a second saddle, meaning the horse and donkey now had their own saddles, and then I got a lure fishing rod. I managed to get red sand from a wandering trader. It was at day 75 that I realized I needed to actually build something in this world, more specifically a starter house that wasn't a bunker in the floor. I found a cherry house design that I liked from Stevler on YouTube and built the house in a creative flat world so I could use Structura to give me a block list. I don't usually do builds in creative first, but I'd been playing around with Ravin Mad Hatter's Structura and thought this would be a good way to learn how to use it. I lit up an area away from the bunker and set up a mini workstation consisting of chests, a crafting table and several furnaces. Then I began collecting the resources on the block list for the build, starting at the cobblestone generator and smelting the cobblestone to get stone at the furnaces. Then I began chopping down trees. This took so long that it took most of day 76 too. Day 77 had more wood chopping and cobblestone gathering, but items were consistently being checked off from the block list for the build. I was chopping down more wood on day 78 when a wandering trader spawned in. RNG was finally on my side and I got the dripstone that I was looking for. I also got cacti and pumpkin seeds. I took the dripstone, the cauldron and newly traded dripstone and made a lava farm. Then I went back to resource gathering, but now making sure that the lava farm was within simulation distance. I was rewarded with the cauldron being filled with lava the same day. On day 79, I continued gathering materials for the block list and even broke a Superflat rule by smelting some of the red sand to get glass. Then I set up a small pumpkin farm and mini dripstone farm next to the lava farm. The final items from the block list were collected on day 80, and I started building my starter house. By the end of the day, I'd managed to finish the entire foundations of the house. I continued building up the house, finishing most of the bottom floor exterior throughout day 81. Whilst collecting pumpkins, I did something extremely stupid, and I could have edited this out, but I think you deserve to know for making it this far in the video. I collected 4 pumpkins and traded all of them for 4 emeralds at the farmer villager. Then I went and traded all 4 emeralds for 4 more pumpkin seeds from the wandering trader. So moving on, day 82 and 83 were spent decorating the exterior of the house and building up the second story and the roof of the house. The second lava source was also available. I needed to redesign some of the interior of the house on day 84 to fit the limited space I had in order to get the up and downstairs that I wanted. Then I made sure to keep working on the roof and the back of the house. Also, I got the third lava source. I added ladders inside the house so I could move between the 2 floors. Then I completed the back of the house first and then the front of the house after, including the upstairs balcony. Day 85 brought another lava source, bringing the total up to 4. Then I added some temporary hidden lighting around the outside of the house and decorated the upstairs interior with a desk, a chair, a bed with carpet and nightstands. With the upstairs interior finished, on day 86 I moved downstairs. I started with lighting the space up. Wanting to move away from the house for a little bit, I traded more pumpkins for emeralds with the farmer and then went to mine cobblestone at the cobblestone gen. After mining the first piece of cobblestone and seeing no lava and no cobblestone generate, I remembered I'd taken the lava source to make the lava farm and not replaced it once I had more lava sources. So I took one of the lava sources and remade the cobblestone generator. Then I collected more wood and started remodeling and decorating the downstairs. I started decorating the kitchen by adding in a working smoker, a sink, storage, countertops for food preparation, eating spaces with food and seats. A wandering trader spawned on day 87 and I bought beetroot, blue orchids and some lilies of the valley. I immediately added the blue orchids to the roof flower beds. I made a seating area for the living room and I noticed there was another lava source in the cauldron, taking the total back up to 4. I continued with adding chiseled bookshelves into the small spaces created by the house walls. Then I made a small shelving unit that included a crafting table, and places to store items. Once I did that, I collected some sugarcane and made lots of books to place in the chiseled bookshelves later. I tried to set up a mini clay farm outside the house. Emphasis on the tried. Then I added carpet by the front door and then decorated the chiseled bookshelves by randomly placing books in them. I finally decided to do something with the cacti on day 89 and set up a mini cactus farm close to the sugarcane farm. Then I visited the cobblestone generator and after collected wheat seeds. I finished the kitchen by adding a banner on the front of the wood to make a fridge. I got another lava source, taking the total up to 5. I also made another armor stand so that I could have a day counter inside my house. Day 90 started with me creating paths around the house. I made sure to add hidden lighting under the path blocks because on Bedrock, path blocks let light through them. I then added water under the stairs, adding a slab underneath them so that the water wouldn't be visible and also so that there wasn't a gap underneath the stairs. And even added some cherry log borders so that it would look nicer. I wanted to test different designs around the house, so I started with fences but I didn't like them, so I just tore them down. At that moment I decided no walls or fences would look better and I will use the paths as the barriers between crop fields. I tilled the grass and then added in wheat seeds. I didn't like that the house and the underground bunker area were disconnected, so I extended the pathways towards the underground bunker. Also, I realized I'd set up the clay farm incorrectly by placing the dripstone immediately underneath the mud blocks, so I changed it. I wanted the path to have some slightly more interesting curves and not just be a diagonal from the house to the bunker. I mined 3 pieces of clay to get 12 clay balls and put them in the furnace. Then I did a little bit of trading and spent the rest of day 91 sat at the mob farm trying to collect bones. I made bricks and mangrove trapdoors to make a chimney on the side of the house. Because the smoker has physical smoke, it only made sense to have it lead into a chimney. Then I bone mealed the wheat seeds in front of the house and added hidden lighting under the pathway. Another wandering trader spawned in on day 92 and I was able to get more red sand. I put a glass table in the living room and added a TV remote on top. Then for symmetry, I tilled the grass and added water under the other side of the house. I also got lava source number 6. Day 93 was a pretty simple day. I farmed wheat seeds, replaced them, and then bone mealed them. I chopped down some trees, removed the clay farm as it was no longer needed, and collected the saplings from the trees. Then at the fishing spot, the sun was setting, so I decided to see what my house looked like, and I was happy with the results. I spent the night at the mob farm, trying to get more bones, and mining cobblestone. I expanded the cactus farm on day 94. I wanted to add some greenery and variation to the path from the bunker to the house, so I experimented with some trees. Annoyingly, I got a big oak tree, so I chopped it down and then just abandoned that project. I traded pumpkins with the villager and set up a temporary cobblestone generator closer to the house. I collected more wood and cobblestone in the morning of day 95, and then extended the paths for another small building that I wanted to put next to my house. When I was upstairs, I realized I didn't like the trapdoors that were hiding the dirt, so I changed them for stairs, and I think it hides it a lot better and it looks a lot nicer. I woke up on day 96 to the 7th lava source. I then kept on working on the new pathways around and to the new building area, adding hidden lighting along the way. I gathered more resources and then began building the front side of a barn, which I've already built in my 16,000 day Bedrock Twitch world. If you want to check that world out, check the Twitch link in the description below and at the top right hand side of your screen now. I also got super lucky on this day and got a second lava source, taking us up to 8. I continued building the barn on day 97. I managed to complete the basic outline of the right side and then mirrored it on the left. I was struggling to keep up with the amount of wood that I needed for the barn, so I went to the mob farm to try and get more bones. It was at this point I finally added torches outside of the fenced areas to limit mob spawning. From this point, mobs should only be able to spawn inside the mob farm, and hopefully that makes it a little bit faster. Detailing the front of the barn allowed me to remember what the roof shape should be. So once the detailing was complete, I got to work outlining the roof of the barn. I had the 9th lava source sitting for me inside the cauldron, and then I got back to working on the back of the barn. I had another super lucky day, because before day 98 finished, the cauldron gave me the 10th lava source that we needed to make a nether portal. Day 99 began with me extending the dripstone farm by 1 block. Then I fully finished completing the roof, meaning the basic shape for the exterior was done, decorating the inside of it and adding hidden lighting in the roof. I also modified the left side of the barn so outside space could be more used, making the barn slightly bigger overall. With the last day of the first 100 days here, I needed to get moving to be in a happy place with the barn. I added a side gate, a working area, detail to the beams, slabs to cover the roof and hide the lighting a little bit better. Then I added a little pen with a large shelf above it, a front gate, a shelf above the left gates inside the barn, finishing with placing some hay bales and barrels for detailing. Happy with where I was, I went back inside my house. Thank you for watching this 100 days video and making it all the way through. There's plenty more on its way too. But with that being said, it's time to sleep for the final time in this 100 day flat world adventure.